Fellas, AC here. Welcome to another video. This time, I'm going to do a topic which might have crossed your mind. When should you overspray? There's some people who overspray all the time, but there's an occasion when you should overspray. There are occasions when you should not overspray. Now, let me start with social situations. I think that's the best place to start when it comes to overspray. If you're going to an outdoor engagement or an indoor engagement with lots of people, now you definitely want others to smell you, right? And that's the time when you should be overspraying. If you don't, nobody will smell you until unless they're very close to you. Also depends on the kind of smell and fragrance, but we'll come to that. So number one bona fide, reason to overspray is if you're going to a social engagement with tons of people. Absolutely, please overspray. But what is overspray? Depends on number of kind of fragrances and number of sprays that you think is overspray. Now I'll tell you, my ritual is if I'm wearing something that I know is very strong, I never go more than one or two. Reason being, I've got a very sensitive nose. And that's probably the reason I've become a fragrance reviewer. I can pick notes, And it's very easy for me to fatigue my nose. A very sensitive nose. If I go 4 sprays, I hardly ever go 4 sprays. If I go 4 sprays, I feel uncomfortable. My nose starts itching, I struggle, I completely dislike the whole idea of completely overwhelming my nose with 4 sprays. I hardly ever go 4 sprays. But if I'm going outdoors, it's going to be windy, like English conditions. I know that my nose is going to be coping with it pretty well. So I go for more than 4 or 6 sprays. So where do you spray more than 4 or 6 sprays? See, I always go 2 sprays on my shirt because fabrics tend to project a bit more. Depends on the fragrance type. If it's an extrait, I don't spray it on my fabrics because there's no point. Extraits are supposed to be very close to your skin. It's like an attar, right? So no matter, you're wasting your sprays. So don't worry if you're wearing an extrait, spraying on your shirt or on your clothes because they don't project. You have better chance of spraying it somewhere on your skin where it's going to warm up. So inside your collars, if you're wearing extrait, that's where you put your couple of sprays. Because when your skin warms up and the air traps between your collar and your shirt and your skin, it will project. It has more chances of projecting, right? So trap it. If you're wearing an extrait, if you're wearing an EDT, that's when you spray it on your shirt. Also, if you're wearing an inexpensive, sort of a cheapy fragrance, those fragrances tend to have more chemicals in them, aroma chemicals, and they tend to fly off your skin. So you're better off spraying it on your fabric. If you're wearing an inexpensive fragrance, EDT. EDP is the same. But think about it this way. The more concentration of fragrance there is, the lesser the chance of that fragrance flying off your skin. Until unless you're just satisfied with the top notes. So extraits are very oily, right? So oil is heavier than air. It wouldn't fly off, right? That's the thing to remember. So what kind of fragrance you're wearing is going to be a crucial part in where you wear it. So extrait, skin. EDP, test it out. Sometimes EDPs work very well on your skin. Sometimes they work very well on your shirt. Like I just reviewed Meander. It's an EDP. It seems to work better on your fabric. So, number of sprays. Most people have a ritual, right? They always have 4 sprays, no matter what fragrance they're wearing. You need to look into that, and we'll come into that. Come to that question a little later in the video. But you don't always have to spray 4. It's your ritual, I know, but normally start with 2 and see if that's enough. If you're spraying something like, let's say, let me give you an example. Now this is spring. It's a very, very strong EDT. Yeah, it is an EDT. It's a very strong fragrance. If I go 4 with this, I'll really give myself a headache. And if you have a ritual of 4, you should really think about it when you're spraying something very strong like this. I know you want to fill the room up, but it's quite impolite. And we all live in polite societies. So think about it. What fragrance you're wearing, decide whether your ritual should be going with the fragrance or not. That's one helpful advice I can give you. So now we have covered social situations. Now let's come to another situation, work. Now work is, you're there not to distract anybody. And if you distract anybody at work, most probably if you're in a white collar job, you will receive a complaint. So that is when 4 sprays or 6 sprays, if you're one of those people, who really enjoys, broadcasting their fragrance, think about it. Because I'm sure you're worried about your reputation at work, because your hard work is equally important like your reputation. If you've not received any complaints, that's fine. But think about it. Work is where you don't want to distract others, and fragrance is a very easy way to distract somebody. If you're wearing, let's say, a kuros, and you put 4 on your shirt, I'm pretty sure you're distracting your colleagues close by, because kuros in itself is a very challenging smell. I would never wear kuros to work, but that's just me. But think about it that way. The whole purpose of this video is to make you think. Now, interviews. I conduct a lot of interviews. Nowadays I'm doing it on Zoom, but normally at my workplace I have a role, and that role requires me to conduct a lot of interviews. What I've realized is people just don't understand that a scent that works in a social situation or in a nightclub doesn't work in an interview situation. I've smelled people's reeking of Sauvage, 5 sprays, Bleu de Chanel, 5 sprays. Just because it gets them a compliment, they've come to an interview smelling of Sauvage, or even worse, Bleu de Chanel, or even worse, Tuscan leather, in winter, of course. But it's a horrendous mistake to make, because, it's a headache-inducing fragrance. You're sitting in a small room, one-to-one interview, and your interviewer is completely focused on your experience and your responses. Why would you want to distract them with a fragrance that flies off in all directions and just completely bamboozles your interviewer's nose? Why would you want to do that? This is a cardinal mistake. People don't understand this. A fragrance that works in a social situation is completely inappropriate in a one-to-one interview. Remember this, because now is the season when a lot of people will be applying for jobs. If you're going to sit in an enclosed space with your interviewee, don't spray with your interviewer, don't spray something that projects a lot. Easy mistake to make, a lot of people make it. It makes you look very insensitive and to a large extent stupid. I'm telling you, the impression I got from some of the guys were these guys are totally stupid. That's the impression I carried. Because you're in a professional setting. You're there to showcase your talent, not your bloody fragrance. Think about it. It annoys me when I smell that kind of fragrance. Even sweet fragrances like Eros. Are you serious? You're wearing Eros to your interview? So anyways, think about it. It really annoys people. It annoys me. I keep it private, but it has a detrimental factor on your grading, definitely. It shows unprofessionalism, simple as that. So, weddings, I've covered all that, right? Dates. This is an important one, because this is, again, a simple mistake to make. It's a first date, right? You never met the girl, she's agreed to go on a date with you. Now, what do you want to wear? I've done a video on first date fragrances, but think about it, very simple formula. It has to be pleasant. It shouldn't overpower her fragrance, because women always overspray. It's their DNA. They do it. So it shouldn't overpower. You are not going to compete with her. It's very simple psychology. Let her win. If you're competing with her, you've lost the game, mate. She smelled your fragrance, but you're out, right? Don't compete with her. Let her come close to you so that she can smell your nice fragrance. It has to be pleasant, not too sleazy or seedy or too sweet because it gets you laid. You're not there to get laid. Maybe you will, I don't know. But the idea is to impress her with your fashion, with your choice, with your taste. And good taste also means reserved. Keep it to yourself, within your bubble. It's a very easy mistake to make. You're not going clubbing, you're going on a date, one-to-one, alright? So remember that, first date. Obviously, once you know the girl and she knows you, you can do whatever you want, whatever fragrance you want to wear, however many sprays you want, that's your problem. The first date is very crucial. Make a small statement. Let her come into your scent bubble. You want her to do that. And then she will get impressed. Wow, okay, this guy, wow. Excuse me, he has amazing taste. So those are the 4 or 5 situations I could think of where you can manage your sprays. 1 or 2 situations, you're going out, social occasion, friends, you're going to a pub. You do whatever you want. 6 sprays, 10 sprays, whatever you want. Nobody's going to ask you a question. Nobody's going to get offended. Absolutely, it's all right to do that. But don't carry that ritual into your office or to your interview or to your first date, even to a funeral, you know, if you wear a fragrance to your funeral. So those are the points I want to discuss. And it would be amazing if I could get your feedback, you know, your experiences when you've oversprayed and realized that it was a massive mistake that you've done, and what did you learn from that. So those kind of comments would be lovely, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Take care. Bye bye.